Alright guys, so you saw me working on a couple bone tools there. The one I was cutting out with the groove, last second I tried to punch it out and I shattered the whole bone, so I made up a couple extras. These are probably going to have to be sharpened as I go along, but I'm going to just see how they work. I just scraped down some of the bone. There's kind of an edge on this, it's not super great. And this one, this is stronger bone, and I'm going to see how these work. Alright guys, I'm just going to kind of show you what I have set up here. I did a makeshift beam. This isn't really necessary. You could definitely drape your hide over a log and sit on an edge and start scraping it. But I like the feel of a beam, so it's easy enough to make a simple one. I just have a forked tree and I have some stones weighing down the rest of the branch. So I'm going to use this as my beam. I'm going to get started here. Alright, so I have to think that any people group that look to an animal like this whitetail, for their primary means of survival would have taken great care in skinning this animal. You know, they probably would have used a stone tool, which would have separated the skin from the meat very cleanly with little chance of actually hurting the hide. And the result would have been, you know, no waste. All the meat would have been intact for butchering, and they would have had a skin that was, you know, very manageable at this point. Probably there was really little to scrape off. You know, nothing was wasted. So I picked a hide here for my first attempt at abo tools. You know, that's, I think, is going to be manageable. There's a little bit more meat on it than I would like, but, you know, and it's a smaller hide, but, you know, I'm going to give this a whirl and see what happens. I'm out here for the full effect. You know, I think it's below 30 at this point. We're expecting some weather, but this should be fun. I'm going to give the whole thing a try, so stick with me. Alright, so I'm going to try these tools out. Really don't know how they're going to work at this point. I sense they're going to have to be a lot sharper when I go to actually dehair this side. But I was hoping I could kind of cheat it at this point. Took some off, but it's going to have to be sharper to get, there's still some real thin layer of meat there. Try this other tool. Yeah, it's going to have to be a lot. That's getting some of it there. This one's actually working a little better. A lot more energy, and that's important because, you know, I could sharpen this a lot more, just being lazy at this point. But yeah, that's starting to take some of it off, so let me see what I'm going to do here. Alright guys, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I went and got some gloves and a hat. It's actually 20 degrees out here. I'm like freezing. And I went ahead and sharpened my tools a little bit. It takes a really long time to shave off a bone with those tools, so they're still not as sharp as I would like, but I'm going to try to get this hide done at this point. And I'll probably resort, and I'll talk to it while I'm doing it. But these are a little sharper now. But still, if you get a good enough bite, you could get it. I'll probably resort to, once I get it, start ripping some off like that. But actually, here it's working pretty good. And I found out the other day you could use a stick to do this too, but you know, bone tools are just so much cooler. You know? Oh yeah. So that's it's actually starting to work really nicely. I don't know, this hide was a little frozen, so maybe now that's thawing out a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, that's starting to get it. That's encouraging. Move right along here. Yeah. Alright. That's awesome. You sort of crack. I'm really wailing on this bone. If it's going to break or not. Some spots like this, I'm probably going to have to just rip it off. I got this other tool too. You know, kind of unorthodox approach, but it's like a wedge. I can get underneath probably some of this fat a tough spot, it actually works really good. You can whale on it, takes it right off. So this is definitely manageable, I mean, with limited tools. And like I said, there doesn't have to be this much meat left on your hide when you skin it, but there is here. So I'm going to use a combination of these tools and see if I could just work my way slowly here. There we go. It's actually working pretty good now. Alright, so moving right along. So with properly sharpened bone tools, this would not be too bad at all. Like I said, this tool could be a little sharper yet. I'm just being lazy at this point. So really I can't complain, the bone is doing the trick. I just snapped one of the tools. I still have this one. This one's a harder, stronger bone, so I mean, I kind of figured those other ones would break. So I didn't want to go ahead and spend a lot of time sharpening it. But at this point I have most of the hide pretty much clean. I'm just trying to get some of this membrane off, which really is just being a little fussy. This hide is frozen. Alrighty, so I think I'm all caught up to that other guy. That other guy using the steel tools. Hide's pretty much done at this point. I'm going to give it the once over. A couple pieces of membrane and stuff, which is not really necessary. Just want to make sure I got all the meat. And yeah, go see where he's at.